I must say, I'm having a good time. I'm ready to get into it.
And this is PS Ready, my channel all about PlayStation. In today's video, I've got, you guessed it, 3 topics to cover. The first one being themes are back and better than ever, but you might have to wait a little bit to access them, which is annoying. Second on the list, we're talking about how Nintendo is playing the Sony game and I don't like it. And third, streaming just got better on the little handheld that could, the PlayStation Portal. But yeah, let's jump into this first news story here because there's a lot of interesting news to cover. There's a new PS5 update going out very soon after the last one, and I like the strategy of splitting the updates up, right? Like, I think that's cool. The old strategy of packing them, like, everything into like a huge update, then putting it out there, giving people a chance to sift through everything, and then waiting at least 6 months to a year to do another one. That was too much in one direction, but now doing updates every month or so is too far in the other direction, because if you don't update your console, you can't access the PlayStation Network or the PlayStation Store. And I know people have better internet now than they did in the PS4 generation, but asking people to just continually update their console is just like a little bit annoying. So let's find a happy middle ground here. Like, maybe you could pack 3 or 4 features into one update every 2 to 3 months instead of a new update every month. But getting off of this tangent, there's a new update out for the PlayStation 5 that doesn't bring back the themes that they put in for the 30th anniversary. But what it does is add a bunch of moving backgrounds based on Sony games to Welcome Hub. So you got some for Stellar Blade, you've got some for Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei, God of War, and everything else. Now, the way to see if you got this update is to just go to the Welcome Hub and try to change your background. And if you see them there, you know you got the update. They say it's rolling out in a phased thing. I would guess that if you're in the United States, you probably get it first, and then all the other countries will follow soon after. I think these are cool because they're motion backgrounds. They're putting a little bit of flair on your PS5 console. It's kind of similar to the one that comes with the PS5 Pro. You actually get an exclusive one that moves. You can clone it though if you just find it online, add it to a USB stick, and then transfer it to your PS5 and then set it as the background. It won't be moving though, so you get a special moving one if you have a PS5 Pro. I think I'm going to pick the Ghost of Tsushima one. I want to replay that game before Ghost of Yotei comes out. I think Ghost of Yotei is supposed to come out in July. That's the rumor that's going around, which makes it very soon. That makes sense because Death Stranding is like a first and a half party game. It's not quite second party, but it's not quite first party. It's like a paid timed exclusive by Sony, and they fund some of the development, so that's how they keep the exclusivity. So like, it doesn't really matter so much for that game to sell gangbusters on the PlayStation 5, but they're doing Kojima a huge solid by not announcing the release date of Ghost of Yotei until that game is really close to release and people have already pre-ordered it. I think the rumors are true about Ghost of Yotei because it's an open world samurai game and you want to give that the best chance to sell. Putting it close to GTA 6, which is supposed to come out at the end of the year, probably not the smartest move. I know they're completely different games. Like, one's a historical samurai game, but they're both open world, right? Like, they're very similar, and if you're comparing apples to apples, you're probably going to go with GTA over Ghost of Yotei. I think 9 out of 10 people would do that. But yeah, I just mentioned this. If you didn't know, you could actually change the Welcome Hub background. It's really easy. You can just go to the PlayStation Store and look for the high resolution screenshots from any game, then just hit the share button and take a screenshot. And once that's saved, you can set that as the background on Welcome Hub. So if you don't like any of the motion ones, or you don't care about having motion backgrounds on your console's Welcome Hub, you can just make your own backgrounds. Or like I said earlier, you can transfer them to your console from the internet with a USB stick. So there's a lot of options here. I think we're getting pretty close to getting those 30th anniversary themes back, but because we got some new ones in the Welcome Hub, I'm assuming that maybe the wait being so long is because Sony is actually working on getting some more made. Like, maybe we will see some themes that are related to God of War, The Last of Us, Ghost of Yotei, Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, Death Stranding 2, a lot of the big first party stuff. I think that would be cool, and that would kind of justify the long wait, because there's really no reason for there to be a wait. There was no reason to take them away. There's no licensing issues or anything like that. It just doesn't make any sense. It feels like laziness. Like, they already had a date set in place where these things would expire, and they just don't want to put the time into re-upping it. So hopefully they're getting these together, because that would be good. I think we need some more game related themes on the console. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments below. But that brings me to the second news story here, which which is Nintendo is playing the Sony game and I don't really like it. So Xbox fans, we all know they love to complain. They have a good reason to complain. I mean, they've been abandoned by the company that they're a fan of in favor of becoming a third-party publisher after they supported hardware and built up a library on that hardware. So I'm not saying the complaints are not warranted, but like they complain a lot. And one of the biggest complaints we hear from them is that Sony money hats a lot of games. We've seen this with Black Myth Wukong. They've accused Sony of paying to get exclusivity on that game to keep it off of Xbox, despite the developer constantly coming out and saying, no, we're not doing that. Sony saying, no, we're not doing it. Xbox likes to point in the direction that they're doing it, but they won't actually accuse them of doing so. Stellar Blade's another example. Sony paid for some of the development cost on that. I guess you could say Silent Hill 2 is one of those because that was a PS5 and PC launch. There are a lot of games that are third-party releases that come out on PS5 and PC at the same time and come out much later, if ever, on Xbox. And it's always easy to kind of just say, well, maybe it's because Sony threw money at it. But I would guess that for a lot of developers, they look at the numbers and say the only way to get people to play games on Xbox is to put our game on Game Pass. And they don't want to do that because it cheapens the overall look and feel of your game to have it launch into a streaming service. Even if it is months or a year later than the original launch, like it just cheapens the value of the game to say, yeah, you can download it for free and play it for 5 minutes. So we can go on Twitter and say we got 15 million players like they did with Death Stranding once that came to Xbox and iPhone. Side note, I feel like the we have this many players thing is just a huge cop out, honestly. Like, just be honest. If you're going to brag about sales, brag about sales. Like, don't say we have players when your game is available for free through Game Pass Ultimate or PS Plus Extra. Like, if you launched into there, you could count literally every single person who booted it up, which just feels a little insane to me. Like, if someone has 4 profiles on their PS5 and they all boot up the same game, if one person buys it, that's 4 players versus 1. And I know they're juicing the numbers that way because they would say how many copies they sold of a game if they had anything good to say at all. But the way that this is coming to bite Sony in the butt is with Hades 2. So Nintendo, they had the big direct last week. You all saw it, I'm assuming. One of the games they showed off a ton was Hades 2, and it looked pretty cool. Like they said, it's going to come to the Switch 2 at launch when it's done. So when it reaches 1.0 status, because it is in early access right now. And one of the things they kind of hid is that it's coming to Switch and Switch 2 at launch, but it's not coming to Xbox and it's not coming to PlayStation at launch. It's just going to come to the Switch, Switch 2, and PC. So clearly Nintendo floated Hades 2 developer Supergiant Games a bunch of money to say, hey, you should keep this game on Nintendo exclusively for at